don't know if this is actually working or not. It's my first attempt at doing a video for YouTube. And I want to welcome you to what I think I might start calling the Moo Ma University. And this is an online educational series that will hopefully educate you in the things that you should watch out for when you're thinking about getting married or involved with anyone in any type of relationship, but especially if it can result in with offspring of children, and things that can happen, and if your relationship doesn't work out, and some of the horrible pitfalls that you can face in the court setting. Now, I'm not an attorney. I hope to be one day, a lawyer. And that is one of my goals, and to help protect the average citizen out there that is totally uneducated when relationships don't work out and they head to the courtroom and they're both baffled, and especially when one comes out a complete loser and loses their children, loses their driver's license, loses their right to live and exist in the United States as an American, while the spouse, man or woman, wins hands down with the abuse and use of restraining orders, where once that's done, at the surprise of the spouse, you lose custody of your children, you lose all your rights, you lose everything in 5 minutes before you even go to court. So it's a very, very unethical misuse of our judicial system and of our parenting, abilities to demonstrate to your children how to treat one another, and teaches them and your offspring how to manipulate the system, and where there's only going to be one winner. And literally, the children lose, the spouse that loses, forced abandonment issues are infringed upon the other parent. Long history. It's almost a lifetime of misery from there on, except for the winner. They can always, once they win, keep marrying another one and doing it again and again and again and again. I mean, in this area where I'm at in the state of Washington, I've been pretty shocked at how many times men and women I've run across that have been married up to 7 times. If you don't make it by at least the third, I've been married twice, and so, I've walked through some pitfalls. I was married the first time almost 20 years, and the second time literally, technically, maybe on the books a year and a half, and married actually only 6 months. But that was the horrendous part of my life where I got all my really grand education started once I decided to have children and not abort them. It seems women today are punished for having children if you don't choose to abort your children. Once a relationship doesn't work out. Now, when it says today that has been said that women have come a long way, baby. Well, we've actually gone down further, not ahead. In this day and age, it's not only that women lose everything like in the old days, way back in the 20s, where men would get it all. But women today are not only losing the states of Minnesota and the states of Washington, and probably many other states across the United States, and I'll probably like to hear about those stories, because this program is about those stories and about how we must start making changes today and awareness for our future children to how to cover their backside for themselves and for their children, and to start making judges accountable for their abuse of their powers and the misuse of those, where actually the only ones that win are attorneys, judges, social workers, psychologists, anyone in the family field. So when I look at getting into law, I'd be looking at contract law, because you'd have too many people fighting you that's in the family law practices that would fight against you for any rights of both parents, because it's the way it's set up. It's honor father or mother, not father and mother, and that's totally unbiblical. So if you're a Christian out there, and I've heard Christians actually starting to misuse the system as well, because it's a way to win and destroy another woman's life, or even a husband's life. So this is totally wrong. It deprives you of all the rights that other Americans get to have. And we're living in America, so what kind of country are we living in? Now, a lot of people think that your rights are automatic, that you shouldn't have to fight for anything nowadays, and most people are afraid to. So what's the old saying? When good men do nothing, then that's how evil persists and keeps invading itself, because nobody says stop. I think it's time to say stop, especially when divorce and abuse of restraining orders results in your children wanting to commit suicide at very early ages, get into early alcoholism without the winning parents' knowledge. Like, you really won something, haven't you? Look what you're doing to your kids. Not only forced abandonment issues, early desires for suicide, early alcoholism, just a chain of many other things, addictions of different types. Everyone's today, especially in the state of Washington and the town of, and I'm sorry if you don't like it, I'm going to be blunt and tell it as it is. I've never seen so many poor kids that seem to be physically, mentally something wrong, and they love to dope them up in the town of Goldendale, Washington. Now, if you don't like that, I'm sorry. I would like to know the percentages. Are they just bringing them all here? Or what is the attraction in this town, or is it actually perpetrated from a child on up with this doping? And we're not sure, but it appears that everybody in the town, if you're not nuts before you get here, they should have a sign on the outskirts of town: beware of Goldendale, Washington. To me, this is where con artists should come to live, because you'll get by with anything, it looks like. And decent people should honestly stay away, because those are the ones they like to rip and jerk around and trash and tie you up in court. And, while the con artists know how to do it and manipulate the system, and they're all with it, it seems. Now, am I saying they're all corrupt? Something's suspicious in there, that's what I would say. I happen to know some of these people in the court system and in the police department and things, and I mean, they've run across some really nice people. So I don't know if it's complete ignorance or what is going on there, but this story has to get told and in their face going, what are you doing? You can't see a legitimate, illegal fraud put on you while someone is playing a con on you, and you trash decent people while the con laughs all the way to the bank. Now, what kind of people, Goldendale, are you electing in the office? Are they all that dumb? I mean, are they all that incompetent? Are they all discriminatory? Are they all lazy? They strike me, there's some people in there that are good people, and they appear very smart. So what is missing here? What is the missing link here? So I would like to know, and I've heard this complaint in the town forever, there's no justice in this town. So is it just here? No, Two Harbors, Minnesota, Duluth, Minnesota. There was a judge in Minnesota that literally changed a court order to protect con artists who created a con, stating he couldn't find the kids after a 12-year-old girl got severely choked. And the judge there, Carol Person, and I'll say her name, because I've got the court records, copies, she changed a court order to cover up a severe choking while the mother tried to protect her child. Now, these are the kind of people you put on boards for where children are. I mean, with this kind of underhanded misuse of your office, which, thank God, they retired early. Who else is in there? And the other judge, a Judge Sandvik, and I'm sorry, if you sue, go ahead. Well, let's make it big, who threatened to take my children, where I would have to go to his house to pick up my children. And there have been rumors, I don't know what was what, but at least, thank goodness, the ex at the time, while we were going through divorce, smartened up quick enough, and they intervened in that part. But then my children were compared to a couple of geese that children know better than ducks. That's all the judge kind of figured. That's what he bases a human being on, is if you can grab ducks and get them in your possession as a judge, you can grab kids to make a woman have to come to your house for a visitation and, manipulate. This was a pathetic judge who totally ignored a lot of violence. I've got records, sorry. Yes, I kept them. So, plus I'm the witness. It happened to me, and, well, thanks for the information, even though we have to learn the hard way. The goal is to educate others out there, so people like you will never hurt others again, or, a light should be put on you. So when you have positions like this, my feeling is, You could probably take the worst judge out there. And if God can use somebody that used to take out Christians and change their name from Saul to Paul and have them write most of the New Testament, you can take the worst, horrible judge out there who really knows the unethical stuff they're doing. I mean, you hear rumors of so many alcoholic judges and, other problems that they've had. Well, no wonder. How do they live or sleep at night? How about trying to start doing the right thing and exposing what's going on in your field? How about that? And my goal, I've had many people tell me, how in the world are you going to change a system? Well, my idea here is to come up with much better programs than what's out there, because it's very destructive intentionally. And it's for the few making job securities, for a few where everybody's nuts, but only a few of them. They're all okay for some reason, even if their personal lives aren't all together. Somehow they're perfect, but none of you are. They're thinking of a divorce. Now, doesn't it seem odd that when you get married, you're fine, you're normal, and everything's great before kids, even if you had kids? Right at a divorce time, everybody's nuts. You got to go through this, psychiatric evaluation, and it didn't work out the way they wanted. Well, like you want to put some more in there, more, and get a guy who might work in their favor here, huh? And believe me, they seem to be. I ran and I was forced to do my own trial back in 2004, December 4th and 5th. And I'll tell you, there was a couple of guys in there with all credentials and everything. I can't remember, psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever. And they were all one was there, and then the heavyweight and all, wanting to make out like, everybody's nuts. And I had never seen these two in my life. They had lied on paper. They had met with me and everything. And I thought, what do? Go through the yellow pages and pick out people and make up stuff? Isn't that illegal? I mean, you're in court and you're swearing to things and you got credentials. Oh, let's see who you are, huh? Wouldn't you like to know? I mean, goodness. Gals and guys, the ones of you that are in your 20s, you don't mind shacking up together because that's not commitment, but it is. Your life is on the line, both of you. If you can't trust this person you're with your life 100%, because literally it can get down to that, your life, because when it gets to dirty time about kids and everything, your lives, it's about survival. And that's why one parent trashes the other one so bad to the kids. And the kid's made up of both parents, the mother and the father, not one, both. So when the one trashes the other to win, it trashes and trashes and trashes, and that's the way the system's set up. It's the only way to win. But, that kid has to hear it. No wonder they want to kill themselves. They're forced to choose. No wonder they want to label them bipolar. Because, kids, they're forced to choose. Are you kidding? Between themselves. Which part is good, which part is bad? They don't know. And so, they go through this mind, and they're little. My kids are only 2, 4, and 5, and this cult church decided that they were going to, out of Duluth, Minnesota, they were going to win. And believe me, they did. You all have to look for my book. I'm Vera Clark. And out of Duluth, I used to do TV programs called Elaine Clark, Express Yourself. Now, people wonder, are you Vera or are you Elaine? I'm both. My mother named me after 2 best friends. Her first friend was Vera, could have been 1 or 2. I don't know which one was first. Second, Elaine. So I got both names. And I didn't find out till years later that Vera means truth and Elaine means light. Now, I've had some people say you're more of an Elaine than a Vera because Vera's so stern and mean. And well, who cares? But, if we're all doing something we shouldn't, best thing to do is stop, reevaluate, readjust, and go. Get doing something right. I don't care if you're a judge. I don't care what high position, low. If you're guilty, you better start changing, because you're going to have a judge yourself that you are not going to escape from. You will not. That's my strong belief. I don't care what you believe. You believe there isn't a sun, too. You believe there's no moon. Doesn't mean they're not there. You can believe whatever you want. So believe whatever you want. But that's a high gamble, real high. If you get sick, if you get down, who's going to help you? Especially when you've trashed families and children. So, pray for the former judge person, Carol person. Pray for the former Sandvik, those wicked people. Thank God they're out of office and retired early. Yeah, all I can do is hope I had some influence there with the TV programs. If somebody doesn't speak up, we're just as guilty as they are. So it's about time we get together and we start making changes. We can go to the president and say, hey, this isn't right. You've got half your citizens that aren't even being treated like citizens. You talk about slavery. We're in it. Look at our skin. We're in it. But the thing of it is, this is not a race issue because it happens to both. There was a guy in St. Louis when I went down there, Missouri, that's where I'm from, right on the front page. He kept telling this black guy, social services, their figures were wrong, he couldn't live. He finally, I think he blew away his whole family and his kids and himself. And then they discovered they did have some errors. Now this isn't a racial thing. This is a major human rights, civil rights thing. So any attorney who wants to honestly be on board and you don't switch on me and become dirty, because if you do, you're not going to like that. I'll do my best to expose you. You may win, but hopefully it won't be forever. And if I don't expose you, hopefully somebody will. So, only people that are willing to take accountability, only those who are willing to and believe that maybe one day they're going to face God, only those who feel they are a witness and they need to speak up as well. I don't care if you're already in the judicial system. I don't have to have all those credentials, but you do. And if you're in a right position right now, you need to convert and you need to make some changes today on that very next case that you're going to see. The very next couple that comes into your courtroom, you better make it equal for the children's sake. Because if you don't, I don't know how you sleep at night. Now, why would I call myself Moo Ma at this point? Or Moo Ma University? Because there is a scripture, and yes, I'll have to get the quote, but you can look it up in the meantime, where even Paul was talking about when he was trying to educate some people. A cow gives milk to the youth, to the babies, the ones that can handle bits and pieces of this thing because it's strong and it's a new message out there. Because everyone wants to close their eyes and take it as is, but there's too many tragedies out there, like in Vietnam. Too many people that are laying in the field, too many people that are homeless, too many people that can't drive, all because of excessive over amounts of child support. I was billed $60,000 based on no income while I was trying to go to school and finish my degree. I was told I should quit in an isolated town that has no growth, about 45 minutes to get anywhere, which you need a gas or car, or you're forced to rely on public transportation, which then you can't, carry home very much food, the amount you'd like if you're going shopping to save time and gas. The story's horrendous, so look for my book. At the moment, I've got one called, that is in the works, Sabbath, 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 and Other Unholy Alliances, where I was literally set up on a Friday night by this, quote, religious group who, quote, love God. But I could see it was a cult and refused to become part of it, even though I was full gospel. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about ethics as groups and people that'll group together to rob and destroy another human being. And we're even talking grandparents as well. There's accountability. There's money that's being made that can be made, grandparents can get raising the grandchildren, but the parents can't. So what I say to you is accountability for a lot of people out there. Because when you think you're winning and you want to claim that parent is a rotten human being, don't look at your own child if you're the parent of the opposite, opposing party. We understand the loyalties and everything, but nobody's seen what's happening to this child. And then when that winner wins, they just get another one next to raise the kid and rob the other parent of the child. Their rightful time, their obligation. Now, instead of money, how about time with a kid? Don't you think that's going to be worth more to the child? Now, whose interest is it really? Best interest of the child. That is a total joke. So look up the scripture where Paul talks about he could feed them with only, milk at the time. They weren't even ready for meat. So this is milk time. From, you can either say Vera Clark or signing off as Moo Ma. You have a good day, and I hope this pricks your conscience just a little. And I look forward to talking to you again. Good day, and have a great, wonderful day, because despite all things, the darker things get, the more light you're going to be if you decide to stand up and do the right thing. And you need to today, really. You do. Join me and help in that fight. Because freedom is not free. Somebody has paid for it. Thank you, and have a great day. God bless. Turn this off.